Several things. First, man, congratulations to Cam Newton on his jersey retirement. I think that's incredible for him, his family, and all that he did for this program. And I got to visit with him last week and kind of knew that it was coming and got to celebrate that with him some. So we were very proud of that and obviously very deserving. And obviously Bo Jackson also being celebrated during the Iron Bowl for the 40th anniversary of his Heisman Trophy winning season. So we also had a 3.0 GPA this past semester. I'm really proud of that. A lot of thanks goes to our academic support staff. Really good. From Friday's scrimmage, thought we needed to, we've got to cage the quarterback better. We're getting a good, we're affecting the quarterback, at least in against us, we are. But we got to cage him once he's out of there, or that can create explosive plays. I think both Jackson, Deuce, and Ashton, all three are really good at keeping their eyes up when those things happen, and created some explosive plays that really, you would hope are not explosive plays. So we had a period on that today where it was just a team pass, and hadn't got to watch it yet, but we were kind of. This is a weird kind of week because we're simulating next week, which today's a Tuesday, and we have class at 11 o'clock on Monday, so it was tight, and so I hadn't had a chance to watch the film. But I thought defensively in the scrimmage they did really well, tackled well again, guarded well. Just gave up a few too many explosive plays, and offensively, good thing, zero turnovers, which was nice. We had some really solid, good, dirty runs that keep us ahead of the chains. Through the RPO game well, but the drop back game still needs some improving for sure. But definitely thought we took a step forward in those areas.
What do you look for now, offensive line-wise, especially as you start to settle in and not rotate as much and start to work on a plan? How much does that impact things?
Yeah, it's the expectation is improvement for sure. We've got to improve in our one-on-one situations. It's impossible for you not to have some one-on-ones in pass pro, and I think we've got to strain harder. And that's the bottom line. We expect more out of this group than to get beat in some one-on-ones. Now, I hope that means that some of our edge guys are pretty dang good. We'll see. But to this point, we haven't been consistent enough in straining to win some of those battles. And, you have some things that we could do to help. Really hadn't gotten into that yet. We'd like to see us hold up and not have to get into some of those deals in the chip world or the max world, but really think we have the ability to do that. Just need to do it more consistently, and that's the expectation, and we expect them to improve at that.
When you look at the defense to the second level in the linebacker rotation, what is that kind of looking like right now? Anybody that stands out over the last couple of weeks, or maybe in the scrimmages in that linebacker spot?
Yeah, heck, I don't know the difference between the ones and twos, and I really don't. They're matter of fact, they switch every day who goes out there first and who goes out there second. So it really, I don't really notice much difference. I think Woodyard's been solid. He's gifted at certain things and maybe not as gifted in some things, but the things he definitely can get us lined up, and he's playing hard at a high level. Riddick's back now, which adds good depth and athleticism to that group, and Melendez and Diaz and Atkins and Caleb. Those six guys have kind of been interchangeable. rotating in and out, no matter what group runs out there first. And there's not a lot of difference, truthfully, in those. Diaz and Atkins, we need to slow them down a little on the run fits. They're so dang aggressive and sometimes can recover because they have quick twitch. But I haven't watched the film, but I know there was one real explosive run today, and I guarantee you he overplayed instead of staying in his gap. I think he was a little aggressive getting over the top to the double team, which makes it really hard for it to hit front side. But if it does roll backside, there's a problem. But boy, their effort and passion that they play the game with is, I couldn't be more pleased. But those 6 guys kind of rotate in and out no matter what group we're in.
Hugh, when you look at Jackson Arnold and his ability to run the football, obviously you can't really do that. I mean, you don't want him to get hit. You're blowing the whistle early. How do you sort of, I guess, evaluate the impact he probably will have on Saturdays, but he hasn't been able to show it during fall camp?
Yeah.
You don't want to hit him.
I asked Cam Newton that the other day because I don't know. It's our offensive staff's very, they're frustrated when you're in a scrimmage and you don't feel like you're getting maybe the yards that you would have gotten because the whistle's just getting blown and somebody gets near him in the pocket, it gets blown, and then you watch the film, you're like, I'm pretty confident he got out of this one. Now, I don't know what would have happened afterwards. I would love to see. I don't know how you do that really until it's real. We've seen enough tape to know he has that ability, and you see it out there. I mean, we called a few today, and you're still blowing it pretty quick. But I have to see the film, but it looked like I think you're clicking off 5, 6, 7 yards there, and not just him, Ashton also, and Deuce. So that's a really good question, and one I haven't found the answer to exactly how to accurately evaluate that until it gets real.
Hugh, you were saying the offense made some explosive plays in the scrimmage on Friday. Some of the backs and receivers who made those plays, can you tell us anything about those?
Omar had a big explosive catch for a touchdown, which was nice to see. Damari had 2 explosive runs, had a really tough, hard-nosed run that scored a touchdown. Cam had a explosive long pass, as did Horatio. That's the ones that jump out. But Omar and then Cobb had 2 really explosive runs today. So we got to get more consistent. But really, we've improved from week 1 to week 2 in run game, RPO game. I think it's more of the pocket passing right now that I'm a little unsure of. It's kind of like we were just talking about with the quarterback runs. This I hope is I've always felt like this in fall camp. I think it's hopefully harder on the offense than it will be later in games. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I'm excited about the athleticism of our defense, and we've got to improve even. But they also, since February, have been going against each other and know, oh, this is a pass, and I'm fixing to get after it. And that puts you at kind of a disadvantage. And hopefully that won't always be the case when you're playing an opponent. But I think there's definitely been signs of improvement that get me excited about us, but still feel like that pocket is getting collapsed a little too quick.
You mentioned it just then with the pocket, but where do you want to see those guys most improve, I guess, in that area the next 2 weeks? And then how ready would you say Deuce is, from watching him in camp?
He's getting better. I think, as far as sitting in there and making a throw, he's ready. He can do that. there's still things, setting protections is new. That's kind of an issue that he still has growth to do in it. Maybe recognizing a little, our defense is doing a really nice job of disguising things, and all of them are missing some of that. It's even hard for us as coaches when you're watching film to see it. They're doing a really nice job. So I think he's just got to improve in the mental side of it. Physically, he can make all the throws right now. So I wouldn't hesitate to throw him in a game. Hopefully we'll start tomorrow, trying to really get these, we haven't studied, we got the base down plan in, but we don't have, hey, all right, how are we setting these protections? And so we'll start working that tomorrow, and hopefully all of them will feel better about, that aspect of it by mid next week.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7. Coach, you mentioned Jeremiah and Omar. What can you say about the picture at running back, and sort of what are the factors that will ultimately decide who's out there?
DeMar is the most complete right now, along with Cobb, most experienced, understanding of who we are, what we do, what they're supposed to do in the RPO game if it's not given to them. And I am excited about, Omar also and Darrell. Alvin is going to be fine. He's been dinged up and hadn't been able to get many reps the last 4 or 5 practices. So hard to say much about that. But I think Damari and Cobb and Omar and Darrell are all getting better, every practice.
We've seen Jeremiah the last couple of years kind of be involved a little bit. How much has he progressed as a complete runner, and what have you seen him maybe improve the most at?
Well, we'll see. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Y'all know we went through 3 or 4 days last week where all of our slot guys were down. So we threw him back out there like we did last year some, and he's got a good football IQ and has that capacity for us to be able to use him in a lot of different ways, whether in the pass game or now he's struggling a little in the pass game right now because he still has that brace on the thumb, and catching's not real natural. But I think he gets out of that first of next week. So he's very versatile, and we can use him in a lot of ways, and I do expect him to have kind of a breakout year. He's probably got the best burst in the open field of any that we have.
Hugh, I know you talked a little bit about Deuce, but just wanted to ask you about kind of the picture at quarterback behind Jackson. Just how are things going as far as deciding a quarterback too, and how have Deuce and Ashton looked in that regard?
Pleased with both. Think that there's a place for both, depending on the scenario in the game. Without giving away too much, I think there's a place for both of those guys that you could play to their strengths, and we won't be afraid to do that.
You mentioned now, starting this week and into next week, that you're on that Friday schedule in preparation for Baylor. But in terms of the Bears themselves, have you guys started on prep for that? How has that looked like, and when will all that really get ramped up?
Yeah, we started back in June, trying to get a head start on our first couple of games so that we feel like we're in a decent spot. So yesterday was and Saturday was a good day to kind of refresh ourselves on all right, what do we feel good about in base downs, and who really are they? Give me the overview again. And so yeah, we're mixing it in. We're still going good on good, so it's not like we haven't broken up and gone scout teams yet. Today we did one period of offense defensive choice where we tell them what we want, and they make it look as close as they can, and then they do the same for 10 plays. So, but I think right now keeping the speed of the game up is important, and the physicality of it. And so we serviced each other, and we'll do that again tomorrow, and then we'll start kind of really, all right, let's get us now a true scout period, a day headed into the weekend.
Hugh, you talked throughout the summer at the beginning of camp. You want handful of defensive tackles to be able to play 10, 15 snaps and buy into that throughout camp. How have you seen those guys buy into it, and just how do you feel about the depth and the rotation you guys got there right now?
I'll have to keep preaching it because I know kids, and I know that they read and they listen, and just, man, I'm hopeful. And DJ and his staff have done a really nice job to this point of, man, getting those guys to buy into their strength in numbers. And I've never had an NFL scout, not one, ever asked me how many snaps somebody played. It's about what you do with the ones you have. And to this point, man, they hadn't seemed to affect any of them. And again, they treat those just like they do the linebackers. I have no idea which two are coming out in the first team period, and it's just a constant rotation, of those guys inside. And I'm hopeful and that we can continue to capture them with that mindset of, man, I don't know how many I'm getting, but I'm going to, the ones I do get, I'm going to do with high motor, great execution, and assignment is correct.
Coach, what are you looking for out of the tight end position this year? You went out and got Preston. Brandon Frazier's healthy. Just your assessment of that group?
Yeah, I think we still have a ways to go in some areas. I think Preston's doing a remarkable job in the pass game. He knows how to work the top end of routes. He's got really good hands. B. Frazier does too. I think in the run game, we've got to be more physical. Our pad level has to get better. And Tate is helping us some with that, but also you're a bit limited, when that's the case. It's not like we're going to ask Tate to run a 13-yard dig and win on somebody, and I think people will know that. Nothing against Tate, but that's really not his skill set. And so I do think we've got to continue to improve our physicality there and deciding, how do we best manipulate that and play calls to give them the best leverage, the best angles, the best opportunity to be successful.
You mentioned preparing for Baylor. Early season prep is always tough, but how much tougher is it now in this transfer world where maybe you don't know as much personnel? Do you have to lean more on coaches and past than you do maybe in years past?
Yeah, that was the question I asked yesterday, is just kind of give me the intel on their additions, they have a lot of returning, and they finished their season really strong, and most have them picked to do well in their conference, if not play for the championship in it. So, plus the additions. And so we've done our research on what the additions are. You're not quite sure exactly how they fit into their depth chart right now with the number of returners that they have, but I'm certain it added value to them in some ways. So, but really, we're not going to change a whole lot offensively from what we've done in the past, and I doubt Dave's going to change a whole lot of what it's been really good to him, and he knows what he's doing on the defensive side, and their OC's been around a long time, and he may have a wrinkle here or a wrinkle there, but most of us are going to do what we do, and then we'll have to figure out if you get in the game and you're like, oh gosh, these two guys here, they're war daddies, and we're having a problem, then you've got to make adjustments. But I don't know that you start doing that right now until you kind of plan for who you think they are schematically.